Have you noticed small, puzzling changes in someone you love over the past few months? Many people think dementia hits like a sudden storm. But the truth is, it often creeps in quietly, sometimes years before a diagnosis is clear. The problem is, these early signs are easy to miss. They blend into daily life, brushed off as stress, aging, or just quirks. It's only later, looking back, that families realize the hints were there all along. But by then, precious time to adapt and connect has slipped away. In this video, we're going to uncover 5 subtle signs that could signal early dementia in someone you care about. Some might be behaviors you've noticed but didn't think twice about. Others might seem minor but point to something deeper brewing beneath the surface. Spotting these signs early gives you a chance to seek answers, adjust care, and make the most of the time you have together, preserving memories and ensuring your loved one feels supported. Stick with us to the end, because these 5 signs can help you prepare emotionally and practically for what might lie ahead. When you know what to look for, you won't be blindsided. You'll be ready to act with love and clarity. Let's dive in. Number 1, trouble with familiar tasks. One of the earliest and sneakiest signs that early dementia might be creeping in is when someone starts fumbling with tasks that used to be as natural as breathing. At first, it's so subtle you barely blink. Maybe they're standing in the kitchen, stirring a pot for a recipe they've whipped up 100 times. But suddenly they hesitate, like the steps got jumbled in their head. Or they're chatting away and pause mid-sentence, grasping for the end of a story they've told a dozen times before, their words trailing off into an awkward silence. You might catch them staring at the TV remote, pressing buttons at random because they've forgotten which one changes the channel, or hunched over their checkbook, brow furrowed, taking way longer to crunch numbers that once flowed effortlessly. Families see this and think, oh, they're just wiped out, or rough day. No big deal. But let's get real. When someone starts tripping over routines they've had locked down for years, it's not usually just aging doing its thing. This isn't about tackling a new skill like learning to text or mastering a smartphone. It's about losing their grip on the familiar, the stuff they've done forever without a second thought. What's happening is the brain's wiring, those intricate circuits tied to memory, coordination, and habit, is starting to fray, like threads pulling loose from a well-worn shirt. They might laugh it off, flash a sheepish grin, or shrug like it's nothing. But as the weeks roll by, these little slip-ups stack up higher and higher. Maybe the stove gets left on one too many times, a faint smell of gas lingering as a quiet warning. Or they stand at the dining table, plates in hand, unable to recall how they used to set it just so for Sunday dinner. Don't mistake this for laziness or a lack of effort. It's not that at all. It's a sign their mind is shifting, rearranging itself in ways they can't control. And spotting it early could be the key to stepping in before it snowballs into something tougher to handle. If you notice this in someone you love, don't brush it aside as a fluke. Keep your eyes peeled for patterns, because this small, sneaky clue might just be the first faint whisper of a much bigger change unfolding beneath the surface. Number 2, misplacing things in strange ways. We've all misplaced our keys or phone once in a while. It's human, right? But with early dementia, losing stuff takes a weird, almost comical twist that's hard to ignore. Picture this: you open the fridge for a snack and there's the TV remote, chilling next to the milk. Or you're folding laundry and find their glasses tucked snugly into a sock drawer, like they belong there. Maybe you lift a couch cushion to vacuum and, bam! There's their wallet, stashed like buried treasure. At first, it's a laugh, a little quirky moment you tease them about dinner. But then it happens again, and again. What really stands out isn't just that they're losing things. It's that they can't figure out how to track them down. Ask, hey, where'd you last see your keys? And you're met with a blank stare, like the question's in a foreign language. Or a wild guess. The garage? when they haven't been near it all day. This isn't the usual "where'd I park my brain today" forgetfulness we all joke about. It's a sign the brain's knack for keeping tabs on sequences and locations. Where I was, what I did, is starting to slip. Like a GPS losing signal mid-trip. They might even get snappy, pointing fingers at you or the kids, insisting someone moved my stuff, because their version of reality just doesn't line up anymore. It's frustrating for them. And you can see it. Their world's tilting. And they don't know why. For families, it's so easy to brush it off with a chuckle. Oh, they're just scatterbrained. Or swoop into Play Hero and find it for them. But when these bizarre misplacements turn into a regular thing, week after week, socks hiding keys, books in the freezer, it's time to stop giggling and start watching. This isn't just a cute quirk, it's the mind waving a little red flag. Subtle but dead serious. Stepping in now could mean setting up simple fixes. Maybe a designated spot for essentials. A hook by the door. A basket on the counter. Or even chatting with a doctor before the confusion digs in deeper. Don't let it slide. These oddball moments are more than a laugh, they're a signal. And acting early could keep their days smoother and safer before the haze thickens. Number 3, mood swings out of nowhere. Another sign that often slips right past us, quiet as a shadow, is those sudden, unexplained mood swings that hit out of the blue. Picture someone who's always been your rock, steady, cheerful, the one cracking jokes at breakfast, suddenly barking at you because the coffee splashed on the counter. The TV's blaring a game show too loud. Or you asked if they need anything from the store. Or maybe it flips the other way. They go silent, pulling back into themselves, eyes drifting off to some faraway place while you're sitting right there. You might catch them tearing up over a sappy commercial that never fazed them before. Their voice shaky. Or see a dull, flat stare where their usual spark used to light up the room. Families shrug it off, thinking they're just stressed out. Or everyone gets grumpy sometimes. But here's the real kicker, with early dementia. These aren't just passing feelings. They're the brain wrestling to make sense of emotions it can't handle anymore. As memory starts to blur and reasoning crumbles, frustration piles up like storm clouds they can't shake. They might feel trapped, lost in their own skull, with no words to tell you why. So it bursts out, sharp as anger, heavy as sadness, or quiet as withdrawal. It's not them turning into someone else. It's their brain rewriting who they've always been. And they're stuck along for the ride. What breaks your heart most? Deep down, they might sense something's wrong. A flicker of knowing that things aren't right. But they're powerless to hit the brakes. It's like watching them teeter on an emotional tightrope, swinging wild from one side to the other. And you're left wondering what flipped the switch. If you spot this roller coaster in someone you love, those highs and lows that don't add up, don't just sit back and hope it passes. These shifts aren't random, they're a clue. A little flare shot up from a mind in trouble. Understanding what's behind them now can arm you with patience, keep you from snapping back when they lash out, and push you to line up support. Maybe a doctor, a counselor, before the ride gets bumpier. Don't wait it out. Those ups and downs are telling you something big. And listening close could make all the difference. Number 4, trouble finding words. Have you ever caught them freezing mid-sentence? Fumbling like they're digging through a junk drawer for a word they've tossed around 1,000 times? Maybe they're pointing at the table, calling a spoon a thingy. Or they blurt out dog when they meant cat. Totally oblivious to the mix-up. At first, it's no big deal. Heck, we all trip over our tongues now and then, right? A little laugh, a quick "you know what I mean," and it's forgotten. But with early dementia, this isn't a one-off stumble. It keeps popping up. And it's not just because they're tired after a long day. You'll hear them ramble on, veering off into tangents, their train of thought derailing mid-story. Or they'll just clam up, cheeks flushed, flustered because the words they're chasing won't show up no matter how hard they try. This isn't about them being shy or having an off moment. It's the brain's language center, that trusty little engine that powers chit-chat, starting to sputter and glitch like a radio losing its signal. Conversations that used to flow like a lazy river now turn into a tangled maze they can't find their way out of. Every turn a dead end. Every sentence a struggle. For families, it's so tempting to jump in, finish their thought with a quick "you mean the fork, right?" or just let it slide, pretending it's nothing. But here's the rub, brushing it off can leave them stranded, feeling more alone as the words slip further away. Keep an eye out for this pattern. If they're constantly tripping over simple stuff like chair or bread, repeating the same line 3 times in a row, or dodging talk altogether, sitting quiet when they used to grab your ear off, it's a sign something's shifting inside. It's not just a quirk, it's their brain waving a flag, saying things aren't clicking like they used to. Acting early, maybe booking that doctor's visit you've been putting off, could unlock therapies or tricks to slow that slide, keeping them tied into the talks and laughs a little longer. Don't wait for it to get worse. Those little word hiccups are more than stumbles. They're a nudge to step up and help before the maze gets too dark to navigate. Number 5, losing track of time or place. One of the loudest, clearest red flags that something's seriously off is when time and space start slipping through their fingers like sand. Maybe they're asking, "What day is it?" 5 times in an hour. Their voice tinged with confusion. Or they blink at the window, shocked it's dark out when they swore it was breakfast time just a minute ago. You might spot them shuffling toward the store, only to find them a block away, turned around, mumbling they didn't mean to head that way. Or they're standing in the garage, staring at the toolbox, unsure how they wandered in there from the kitchen. At first, it's small stuff, easy to miss. They blank on a dentist appointment, or they swear tomorrow's Tuesday when it's Friday. But then it swells into something heavier. They're convinced it's 1995, rattling off plans for a job they retired from decades ago. Or they perk up, asking when Uncle Joe's dropping by, forgetting he's been gone since '03. This isn't just a cute senior moment you chuckle about over coffee. It's the brain losing its grip on reality, like a map with the lines smudged out for them. It's a dizzying, disorienting mess. Imagine waking up in a world where the clock and compass don't work, though they might plaster on a smile to cover the panic flickering underneath. For you, it's a gut punch, a quiet ache watching them drift further from the here and now, their anchor to the present fraying thread by thread. But here's the silver lining, catching this early hands you some power. You can tweak their day, set up a big calendar, a routine they can lean on, keep them safe from wandering off into traffic or memory's fog, and get help lined up. Maybe a doctor who can slow the slide, if this rings a bell. If they're lost in time, mixing yesterday with today, or pacing rooms like a stranger in their own house, don't sit on it, hoping it's a phase. It's a sign the clock's ticking faster than you realize, counting down to a point where they might slip too far, mentally, physically, to reel back in. Act now, because every second you wait, that drift pulls them a little farther out of reach. As we wind down, let's run back through what we've unpacked, fumbling with everyday chores, hiding stuff in wacky spots, mood swings that come out of nowhere, wrestling with words, and losing track of when or where they are. These 5 clues can pop up way before dementia crashes the party hard. They're not screaming in your face at first, just little nudges from a brain that's starting to shift gears. For lots of us, spotting these in someone we love feels like a punch to the gut. You want to shrug it off, pray it's no big deal, keep everything like it's always been. But here's the real kindness, tuning into those quiet hints. Not freaking out, but stepping up with a game plan. Catching them early means you can dig for help, tweak their days, and grab tight to the good stuff that still shines through. This isn't quitting. It's showing up, with heart, calm, and a roadmap. If these signs are ringing bells, breathe deep, you're not flying solo. Tons of families have walked this road. And knowing what's ahead can be your flashlight. Thanks for hanging out. Toss a comment below. What clicked for you today? And how'll you run with it? Your words keep our fire lit. If this hits you where you live, smash that like, subscribe, and pass it on. Your cheers keep us rolling out stuff that counts. Catch you next time.